In a hidden valley cradled by towering mountains, young Princess Lyra gazes at the stars, her heart yearning for the secrets of the sky. On her 17th birthday, a gift from her godmother, the spirit of the wind, bestows upon her a crown woven from clouds. This ethereal crown opens the gateway to a realm of magic and mystery, where Lyra discovers her destiny as a bridge between earth and sky. But with the beauty of the Sky Kingdom comes a price, as whispers of forgotten souls warn her of the shadows that linger. Join Lyra on her enchanting journey as she navigates the delicate balance between the world above and the kingdom she is destined to protect. Let her story guide you into a peaceful slumber where dreams weave through the clouds and starlight beckons from beyond. Once, in a valley untouched by the hurried steps of mortals, a kingdom lay nestled within walls of evergreen mountains and mist-shrouded rivers. Here, under the sky's vigilant gaze, lived a young princess named Lyra. She was a quiet soul, her heart like the night itself, filled with hidden stars. Though she walked among her people, her gaze was forever drawn upward, lost in the endless stretches of clouds and constellations. To the townsfolk, she seemed both a princess and a dreamer, caught somewhere between earth and sky. It was on her 17th birthday that something peculiar began to stir. As dusk fell, the court prepared lavish feasts and colourful lanterns filled the halls. Yet, Lyra felt an odd tug within her, a whisper too soft to catch but persistent enough to sense. She stole away from the celebrations, her footsteps soft upon the castle stone, leading her far beyond the walls to a quiet meadow bathed in twilight's deepening hues. There, amidst the rustling leaves and the gentle sigh of the night breeze, she found herself alone, except for one presence. From the air itself her godmother appeared, not in the form of flesh, but as a figure woven of wind, a presence both seen and felt. Her voice was like a breeze through reeds, soft but insistent, and Lyra knew it was her godmother, the spirit of the wind, keeper of hidden paths and forgotten songs. "My dear Lyra," the wind spoke, her voice carrying an otherworldly melody. 17 is a year for gifts of meaning, and I have woven one just for you. And then, before Lyra's eyes, the wind began to gather. Threads of cloud and mist intertwined, swirling and shimmering as they coalesced into a crown, delicate yet ethereal. It held a faint glow, a softness like the edge of dawn, and yet it seemed more alive than any crown of metal or jewels. It was a crown not meant for a mere earthly princess, but something more. As Lyra's trembling hands reached out, the wind wrapped the crown around her head with a gentleness that felt almost like a blessing. "This crown," her godmother whispered, "is no ordinary adornment. It holds the breath of the sky itself. Wear it well, and you shall know mysteries that linger above and dreams that walk below. But remember, the sky's gift is neither light nor easily carried. It will take you places, Lyra, if you are willing to go. Lyra's heart beat with the quiet intensity of a secret uncovered. She felt the weight of the crown settle, not heavy, but strangely grounding, as though it connected her to something vast and ancient. The wind's words curled around her like tendrils of mist, vague yet filled with promise. But before she could voice her questions, her godmother dissolved back into the evening air, leaving only the soft rustling of leaves in her wake. She returned to the castle with the cloud crown resting on her head, and though she feared others might notice, it was as though the crown were invisible to anyone but her. The revelry continued around her, music and laughter echoing through the halls, but Lyra felt herself in a different world. The crown seemed to pulse with a soft, rhythmic hum, almost as if it had a life of its own. And in its presence, she felt the tug of something immense, something far beyond her world of stone walls and candlelit feasts. That night, when the palace lay quiet and dark, Lyra could no longer ignore the call. She stepped out onto her balcony, feeling the cool night air kiss her cheeks, and as she looked up, she felt the crown respond. It began to lift her, gently at first, as though it were testing her willingness, her courage. Her feet rose from the floor, her hands grasping at the night's shadow, but it was too late to turn back. With her heart racing, she drifted up, higher and higher, her world shrinking below her. And for the first time, she saw the stars not as distant pinpricks in the night sky, but as beings within reach, aglow and alive with an ancient light. She was weightless, adrift, no longer bound by earth or rule, as though her soul itself had been set free. And as she floated in that vastness, somewhere between stars and clouds, a voice echoed softly in her ear, no longer her godmother's, but something deeper, a murmur of the sky itself, welcoming her in a language she could not fully understand. She wore the crown well that night, its cloudy tendrils merging with her dreams, sealing a bond between herself and the hidden realms above. The crown was her secret now, one she felt was both a gift and a burden, for it opened doors that were not meant for the faint-hearted. But Lyra knew, even in the quiet depths of that first night, that she was no ordinary princess anymore. She was one who wore the sky as a crown, who could rise to realms unseen, and who had perhaps always been destined to know the secrets that lay beyond the clouds. From that night onward, Lyra's life became a quiet symphony of secrets. Each day she moved among her people with grace, her steps silent, her face serene. But beneath this calm lay the knowledge of her midnight flights, of the strange and beautiful things she saw when the world fell into slumber. Every night, she would return to her chamber, place the cloud crown upon her head, and drift upward like a wisp of morning mist. One night, as she ascended into the sky's deep embrace, she noticed something she had never seen before. A faint, silvery path stretching into the distance. It was a road of stars, suspended and shimmering in the sky, like a breath held in anticipation. The path was narrow, winding, and seemed almost afraid of being discovered, as though it appeared only for those who truly sought it. Curiosity stirred within her, a pulse quickening at her core. She stepped onto the path, her feet silent upon the silvery light, and the stars beneath her trembled slightly, as if sharing some hidden excitement. The pathway wound through wisps of cloud and shadow, each twist and turn revealing new depths of darkness, new glimmers of light. And as she walked, she began to hear whispers, soft, indistinct voices that filled the air around her, weaving through the silence like threads of an ancient, half-remembered song. The whispers called her by name, speaking in a language both familiar and foreign. They spoke of forgotten things, of tales and truths buried beneath centuries. And though she could barely grasp the words, she understood their weight. Her heart felt pulled, as though strings unseen had long tied her to this place. As she walked further, the whispers grew louder, filling her with an uneasy sense of something long lost, something that had waited for her arrival. Shadows flitted across the path, moving just beyond her sight, shapes that seemed both alive and dreamlike, shifting like smoke. Lyra felt her pulse quicken, but she continued forward, following the curve of the silvery path, her steps steady despite the growing sense of mystery and wonder. Then, in the distance, she glimpsed something strange, a gathering of clouds, dense and dark, circling like silent sentinels. They loomed over a gate, ethereal yet solid, a threshold into realms unknown. The gate pulsed with a faint light, and as she neared, Lyra felt the whispers quiet, as though in reverence. A voice, different from the others, rose above the silence. It was soft, yet it echoed with an authority older than mountains, an ancient power masked in gentle tones. "You who wear the crown of clouds," it said, each word resonating within her. "You stand at the edge of the Sky Kingdom, a place for those who have sought what others have forsaken. Do you wish to enter?" Lyra took a breath, feeling the weight of her answer before it even left her lips. "Yes," she whispered, her voice barely audible, yet certain. She felt herself drawn forward, as though something in her had always known the path, had always waited for this moment. The gate opened slowly, each cloud drifting aside with a whisper, as if granting her passage by its own will. Beyond the gate, the air was thick with magic. Towers of vapor stretched high into the heavens, their tops vanishing into the mists. Rivers of liquid starlight wound through the landscape, shimmering and casting reflections that seemed alive. Beings of cloud and shadow glided by, their forms ever shifting, their faces obscured by veils of mist. Lyra felt both small and infinite as she crossed the threshold, her heart filling with the weight of 1,000 mysteries. Here was a kingdom not bound by walls or stone, but by something far older, far more elusive. She sensed eyes upon her, gentle yet inquisitive, watching her with an ancient knowing. The voice spoke again, softer this time, almost as if it spoke to itself. She has come at last, the one who walks the silver path, who wears the crown not of jewels but of clouds, the one who seeks the hidden, and the hidden seeks her. And then, like a breath of wind, the voice faded, leaving only silence and the faint, omnipresent hum of the Sky Kingdom. Lyra took another step, feeling the path dissolve beneath her feet, merging with the kingdom itself. She had become part of this place, its mysteries now woven into her being, her heartbeat synchronized with the rhythm of this enchanted realm. She moved forward, deeper into the Sky Kingdom, each step carrying her further into its secrets. She sensed that the path of whispers had not merely led her to a new place. It had led her to herself, to a part of her spirit that had longed to awaken. Yet, as she ventured further, a shadow of doubt flickered within her heart. What lay ahead was unknown, an endless horizon of questions and promises, each step drawing her closer to something grand and mysterious, and perhaps something dangerous. The silence of the kingdom settled around her like a cloak, and as she walked deeper, she felt the kingdom itself stirring, welcoming her into its hidden depths, awaiting the answers that only she could provide. Lyra ventured deeper into the heart of the Sky Kingdom, where twilight lingered as if time itself had grown weary and paused. The air grew dense, heavy with secrets, as if the clouds themselves bore witness to stories lost to all but the oldest stars. In this realm, light and shadow danced together, shifting in ways that made the sky seem alive, breathing with each of her steps. She walked cautiously, her senses sharp, feeling a strange presence around her. It was as though unseen eyes watched her from within the mists, curious yet distant. The silence grew thick, the kind that cloaks itself in waiting. Her crown of clouds pulsed with a faint glow, casting a soft light that reached only as far as her fingertips. Then she saw them. Figures, almost invisible, formed from the edges of the shadows, drifting just beyond her sight. They moved like wisps, dissolving and reforming in the darkened air, their shapes ambiguous yet strangely human. Lyra felt a shiver run through her as they began to circle her, not with malice, but with an unsettling curiosity. The shadows whispered, their voices a murmur of wind and memory, filling the air around her. "Who are you?" one voice asked, light as mist but edged with ancient weariness. "Why do you walk the path?" another voice joined, softer, as if hesitant to speak. Lyra hesitated, her heart beating loudly in the stillness. These were not spirits of malice, she sensed, but rather something forgotten. Beings caught between worlds, suspended in time, remnants of lives once lived on Earth, now only whispers of what they had been. She felt both drawn to them and wary, sensing that they carried stories not meant for mortal hearts. "I am Lyra," she replied softly, her voice barely breaking the stillness. "A princess of a world below, but here I seek something beyond names and titles." The shadows stirred, their forms shifting, as if her words had stirred memories long buried. They drifted closer, their faces mere flickers of light and darkness, and Lyra could sense them reaching out, not physically, but with something deeper, a quiet longing. "We were once as you are," one of them murmured, a voice laced with the echo of sorrow. "Once we walked beneath the stars, felt the warmth of the sun, loved and feared and dreamed as mortals do." Another shadow, its shape barely defined, spoke in a low, haunting tone. "But we were drawn here, each for different reasons. And now we are bound to the sky, forgotten by time, mere shades of what we once were." A chill ran through Lyra, but she held her ground, sensing that this meeting was no accident. These shadows bore a message, a warning perhaps, veiled in sorrow. "Why do you remain?" she asked, her voice gentle, her heart filled with an unexpected sympathy. The shadows grew silent, as if the answer was one too painful to speak. Finally, one of them whispered, "We were those who sought beyond what was ours to know. We wished for wisdom, for power, for things we did not understand. And so we linger, trapped between realms, neither here nor there. The Sky Kingdom is beautiful, yes, but it is a realm that claims those who wander too far." The weight of their words settled upon her, and Lyra felt a flicker of fear take root in her heart. She looked up at the sky, a vast, endless expanse that seemed both wondrous and terrifying. She could feel its pull, a lure to drift further, to know more, to surrender herself to the secrets it held. Yet here were these shades, remnants of souls who had ventured too deeply, lost to themselves and to the world below. One of the shadows, its voice softer, more wistful, drew close, speaking almost directly into her ear. "Beware, princess, for the crown of clouds is a gift, but it is also a bond. To wear it is to invite the sky into your soul. Step lightly, for each answer leads to another question, each secret to a darker mystery. And if you lose yourself, there will be no path back." Lyra felt a chill at these words, yet her resolve did not falter. She was bound to this journey, drawn to the unknown like a moth to a distant flame. Still, a spark of caution ignited within her, a reminder that curiosity must be tempered with care. As the shadows drifted back into the mists, their forms dissolving, one last whisper lingered in the air. "Seek what you must, princess, but remember the sky holds its own, and it is both patient and hungry." Lyra stood alone once more, the silence deepening around her. She felt the weight of the shadows' warnings, their voices echoing in her mind like ghosts haunting her heart. Yet even with their cautions, a part of her could not turn back, could not abandon the path that called to her so profoundly. With her crown softly aglow, she took another step forward, deeper into the Sky Kingdom, her footsteps silent but steady. The shadows had marked her with their stories, yet her spirit remained bound to the mystery ahead, compelled to seek what lay beyond the reach of even those who had come before. And as she disappeared into the mist, Lyra felt a strange certainty settle within her. The knowledge that she was not merely passing through this realm, but was now inextricably a part of it, bound to its beauty, its secrets, and its shadows. Lyra wandered further into the Sky Kingdom, feeling herself pulled by an invisible thread toward a place she sensed but could not see. The silence had deepened, becoming almost tangible, each step she took echoing faintly as though the very air held its breath. The mist thickened, swirling around her, alive with a pulse that seemed to synchronize with her heartbeat. She felt the kingdom watching her, not with malice, but with an ancient and quiet expectation. Then, as though in response to her unspoken call, the mists parted. She stood before a grand archway formed from clouds, silver and shimmering, with wisps of starlight woven through its structure. Beyond it lay a courtyard of pure, shifting light, its floor a mosaic of cloud and shadow. And there, in the center, stood a figure cloaked in robes that seemed to be spun from the night sky itself, adorned with flecks of light like distant stars. Lyra knew at once who this figure was. She felt it in her very soul. This was the keeper of the Sky Kingdom, guardian of the realms hidden above and beyond, a being ancient beyond her understanding, timeless and watchful. The keeper's face was hidden beneath a hood, but two eyes, vast and endless as the night sky, gazed out at her, filled with mysteries she could not hope to unravel. When the keeper spoke, it was a voice that seemed to come from the very heart of the kingdom, resonating within her, as though every cloud, every star, and every breath of wind was lending its strength. "Lyra," the keeper spoke, each syllable a quiet thunder. "You wear the crown of clouds and walk paths that few dare tread. You have passed through the whispers and the shadows, yet you come here unbroken, unafraid. Tell me, why do you seek the kingdom of the sky?" Lyra's voice trembled, yet she held the keeper's gaze, feeling herself both grounded and adrift. I do not know if I seek anything particular," she admitted, her voice soft but steady. "But I am drawn here, as if this place has called me, as if some part of me belongs here, waiting to be found." The keeper nodded slowly, an understanding flickering within those infinite eyes. "The sky calls only to those who hold it within them, Lyra. Your crown of clouds binds you to this realm, but it also binds you to its secrets, its shadows, its very essence. Lyra felt the weight of those words settle upon her, and with them a hint of fear. And what does that mean? Am I to stay here forever? The keeper's eyes softened, though the face remained hidden. The choice is yours, Lyra. But to stay is to surrender to the sky, to let it fill you until you are as the shadows you encountered, beings caught between realms. To go forward is to discover truths that may change you forever. For the sky is a vast and hungry place. Its mysteries are not meant for mortal hearts. A shiver traced down her spine, but her resolve did not waver. I wish to know, she replied, her voice barely more than a whisper. I will face what I must. The keeper studied her, a silence blooming between them as though weighing her courage, her longing. Finally, the keeper extended a hand, a gesture so subtle that it seemed part of the mist itself. Then come, the keeper said, and learn what lies hidden beneath the veil. With cautious steps, Lyra moved closer, her heart pounding with a strange mix of fear and wonder. The keeper reached out, placing a hand upon her crown of clouds, and in that instant, a flood of images and sensations overwhelmed her. She glimpsed the vastness of the Sky Kingdom, realms layered within realms, a web of paths connecting stars and worlds and dreams. She felt the endless depths of time, each moment a drop in the ocean of eternity, each secret a weight beyond measure. And then, within this torrent of visions, she saw herself, not as a princess of earth, but as a being tied to both realms, a bridge between the known and the unknown, bound by the crown that rested upon her head. She saw herself walking paths that led beyond the edge of the visible, glimpsing truths hidden from mortal eyes, her heart carrying both the light of stars and the shadow of night. The keeper's voice cut through the visions, grounding her. Lyra, to wear the crown is to be marked by the sky itself. You are a keeper of its mysteries now, a guardian of its wonders and its dangers. But know this, the sky takes what it gives. You will carry its weight, its beauty, and its sorrow. Do you accept this? Lyra felt the weight of the sky settle upon her, a presence vast and unyielding, yet strangely familiar. She knew the choice before her, the path her heart had already chosen. And so, with a breath that seemed to echo in the depths of the kingdom itself, she answered, "Yes, I accept." The keeper released her crown, and as the visions faded, she felt herself steady, rooted in both earth and sky, no longer a stranger to either world. The keeper's eyes held a trace of sadness, yet also a quiet pride. Then go, Lyra, and remember what you have seen. Guard it well, for there are few who can bear such knowledge. With a final nod, the keeper stepped back, and the mists began to close around them, the courtyard of light dissolving into shadow once more. Lyra felt herself drawn back, the pull of the earth below calling her gently. But she knew now that the sky would always be a part of her, a presence forever bound to her soul. As the mist enveloped her, Lyra felt a sense of calm settle within her. She had crossed the threshold, embraced the sky's secrets, and emerged not as she had been, but as something more. And as she descended back to her world, her heart held the kingdom's mysteries, woven deep within, a guardian of wonders and shadows alike. The descent was slow, a gentle drift through layers of mist and starlight. Lyra felt the weight of the Sky Kingdom settle upon her like a second skin, binding her in ways she could not fully understand, but felt deeply, irrevocably. As she moved closer to the earthly realm, she sensed a quiet sadness within herself, a longing that clung to her as the remnants of the Sky Kingdom faded into the night. When her feet touched solid ground, the world seemed unchanged. The familiar stone of her balcony beneath her, the gentle rustle of night winds weaving through the palace towers. Yet Lyra knew she had returned not as she had left. Her heart beat with a rhythm foreign to the earth, each pulse a reminder of the kingdom that lingered just beyond sight, waiting, watching. She stood for a moment, breathing in the earthly air, feeling its warmth and weight, so different from the ethereal chill of the sky. But there, on the edge of the breeze, she could still hear the faintest whispers, as if the Sky Kingdom itself called to her, reminding her of the promise she had made. As dawn broke over the mountains, casting a pale, fragile light across the valley, Lyra found herself gazing toward the heavens. The morning clouds drifted lazily, unaware of the realms they concealed, the mysteries they held within their folds. For the first time, she felt the true weight of her crown, its presence no longer ethereal but real, binding her in ways deeper than mere flesh and bone. She was both a princess of earth and a guardian of the sky's secrets, her spirit forever tied between worlds. The days that followed were filled with a strange silence. Lyra walked among her people, her steps as light as ever, her gaze as serene. Yet the spark of something otherworldly gleamed in her eyes, a depth that whispered of places unseen. The townsfolk noticed, though they could not name what had changed. She was still their princess, and yet she had become something more, a presence that carried the echo of ancient skies. One night, as she lay in bed, a quiet yearning stirred within her, a longing to once again drift into the embrace of the sky, to feel the cool mist and hear the whispered secrets of the stars. She rose, her fingers brushing the soft tendrils of the crown upon her head, and felt its pulse align with her heartbeat. But as she moved toward the balcony, she felt the weight of the keeper's words return to her. The sky takes what it gives. She stopped, her hand stilling on the crown. A deep understanding washed over her. She knew, as surely as she knew the stars in the night, that each journey into the Sky Kingdom pulled her further from the earth. Each secret bound her tighter to the ethereal realm. And if she crossed that threshold too many times, there would come a night when she would not return, when the sky would claim her as its own, and her spirit would be lost to the world below. The crown hummed softly, almost as if it too recognized the choice before her. Lyra felt a pang of sorrow, an ache at the thought of parting from the wonders she had barely begun to understand. Yet deep within, she knew her path. She was bound to this world, to the kingdom she had been born to lead, to the people who looked to her with hope. She could not abandon them for the allure of shadows and starlight. With gentle hands, Lyra lifted the crown from her head, feeling its light dim as it left her touch. She placed it carefully in a silk-lined chest, the tendrils of mist curling and softening, settling into a quiet stillness. The crown seemed to sigh, a faint, wistful sound, as though it understood this choice as well. And as she closed the lid, she felt a calmness settle within her, a peaceful acceptance of the path she had chosen. The days turned to weeks, then months, and the crown lay undisturbed, hidden away in her chamber. Lyra's heart still carried the memory of the Sky Kingdom, a soft, persistent echo of a world just beyond reach. Sometimes, on the darkest nights, she would sit by her window, gazing up at the stars, feeling the faint pull of her crown calling from its chest, whispering promises of wonders unseen, realms uncharted. But she would only smile, a quiet, knowing smile, and turn back to her world below. And so, Lyra lived, a princess among her people, her spirit grounded yet touched by something beyond the earthly. She led her kingdom with a wisdom born not from books or scrolls, but from a realm of clouds and shadows, a place where secrets lingered like stars, waiting for the right heart to find them. In the end, Lyra became a legend, not for her crown or her voyages into the sky, but for the quiet strength with which she held the balance between two worlds, a silent guardian of wonders that remained unseen. People spoke of her in hushed tones, tales of a princess who wore a crown of clouds and whose heart knew the language of the stars. But only she knew the true depth of her journey, the cost of knowing the sky's secrets. And when her days finally drew to a close, the winds carried her name through the valley, whispering it to the mountains and rivers, as though the sky itself mourned her passing. And somewhere, in a chest covered with years of dust, the crown of clouds waited, its mist stirring faintly, as if dreaming of the one who had worn it, and of the day when another heart might one day rise to know the mysteries of the Sky Kingdom once more.